Bengals fans, we are in a sub battle with our Steelers channel here at Chat Sports. As you can see, we've fallen a little bit behind here in the month of June, but we still have a couple weeks to make up some ground on those dreaded Pittsburgh Steelers. So do us a favor, get down there and hit that sub button. That is youtube.com/Bengals TV. Welcome into today's edition of Bengals Breakdown. Once again, I am your host, Stone Shields. Thank you so much for joining us. We spent a lot of time yesterday discussing Tee Higgins and the fact that he signed his franchise tag for 2024. And we got some more news coming out in regards to Tee Higgins and his future here in Cincinnati. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that the Bengals are unlikely to use the franchise tag on Tee Higgins again in 2025. In fact, it would be pretty unprecedented if the Bengals did, but more on that in a bit. Let's dive into what exactly Jeremy Fowler said. He said, highly unlikely Higgins gets a long-term deal. I was told talks of late are all but non-existent. So they talked before, made an offer, didn't come to any sort of agreement. It's been pretty quiet, and so Higgins is in a situation now where he's all but relenting that I'm going to play a one-year deal with the Bengals, and I'm going to kill it in free agency in 2025. He is not likely to be franchise tagged that next year because that would be a huge number, and the Bengals are trying to budget for Jamar Chase. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network also weighed in on the Tee Higgins situation and echoed pretty similar sentiments to what Jeremy Fowler did. Rappaport said, this is why it's really hard to keep really good championship teams together because the great players want a lot of money, and this feels significant for Tee Higgins. All this does is raise the bar and raise the bar for when Higgins eventually gets paid, perhaps in free agency next year. Look, maybe in the past, Cincinnati could have afforded to keep Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase, but right now their quarterback is, making the most money in the National Football League on average per year. And that simply isn't feasible anymore with where the wide receiver market is at. These guys are making $30+ million each year and just signing these huge extensions. And it seems like the Bengals have really made their preference clear in terms of who they would rather have, Jamar Chase or Tee Higgins. Like Fowler said, the talks of late have been pretty non-existent between Tee Higgins' camp and the Bengals front office. And it's not really how a team handles a player if they have envisions of keeping them and signing them long term, right? There's more of a constant communication between the player and the front office. And as far as I can tell, there really hasn't been any communication between the time of Tee Higgins' trade request and yesterday or the other day when he signed his franchise tag. So Cincinnati appears to be pretty content to let him leave and watch another team pay him the kind of contract he's ultimately seeking. As far as what team that might be, I think there's one of two options. One, you're looking at a team that has the quarterback in place, right, but doesn't necessarily have that wide receiver one. Team might want to bring in Tee Higgins and allow him to be the wide receiver one. Or maybe you've got a team like the Vikings, perhaps, who have, one of the best wide receivers in the league in Justin Jefferson, but they have a quarterback on a rookie deal, so they could potentially afford to bring in a second wide receiver. So it'll be pretty interesting to see, but as we know, Tee Higgins will certainly be back in 2024. But it's your chance to get interactive here in the comments with the pinned comment of today's video. Will Tee Higgins be a Bengal in 2025? Obviously, we have a full year to be excited about with Tee Higgins, but there's nothing wrong with looking a little bit further down the road and asking ourselves, will he be with the club in 2025? So type Y for yes or type N for no. Getting back to what I kind of teased earlier when we first came on the air here, these are some of the players that the Bengals tagged and then were able to reach an extension with. And as you can tell here, they haven't been able to do this since 2013. You think about all the guys they have tagged since then, and the most recent guy being Mike Nugent that got tagged and then was able to get extended after that. And obviously, that was over 10 seasons ago. And only a couple other options before that as well. You got Rudy Johnson in 2005 and Carl Pickens in 1999. So like I said, it would be pretty unprecedented if the Bengals did reach an extension with Tee Higgins, because this really just isn't something that they do. And if they were going to tag him again in 2025, that would cost the team $26.2 million. And the Bengals aren't going to pay that, right? I mean, at that point, just pay him, right? Because he's probably going to be around the $30 million mark per year, probably a little bit less. And, if you tag him, you're paying him almost that. So that really wouldn't make sense to tag him for a second time. So I do not believe Tee Higgins will be tagged by the Bengals after the completion of 2024. If you are not already, make sure you are subscribed here at Bengals Breakdown. Like we talked about earlier, we're in that sub battle with our Steelers channel, and we have fallen behind. So help us out. You don't want to miss any of our Bengals coverage all off season long, and certainly all regular season long as well. So go down there and hit that sub button right now. So now we'll give you a little update on Jamar Chase. Per ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Bengals are prioritizing a Jamar Chase extension, right? It's pretty clear that of the two-star receivers, they want to go forward with Jamar Chase when we talk about the long term here in Cincinnati. Once again, we'll take a look at what Jeremy Fowler said regarding Jamar Chase. He said, "Some believe he is the best receiver in the NFL next to Justin Jefferson, and so they want to prioritize him. Burrow and Chase together long term. It's complicated, though, because Chase has 2 years left on his rookie contract, and they don't have to do it right now. The market is huge, as we're seeing, but the Bengals are going to try and shake this out and see if they can come to an agreement here." And, taking a look at what Jamar Chase has been able to accomplish in a Bengals uniform through his first 3 years here. And as you can tell, the numbers are pretty magnificent, right? Nearly, over 3,700 yards receiving, 29 touchdowns. And as you can tell, he has 83.6 yards per game. And that is the fourth most in NFL history, which is pretty mind-boggling when you consider just how outstanding that is. But, I mean, you can talk numbers all day long, right? But you just got to be able to use your eyeballs, too. And when you watch Jamar Chase out there on the football field, he's just different. He moves differently. He's bigger. He's faster. He's stronger. He, catches more footballs than anyone else. So, I truly believe that Fowler is correct in saying that he is one of the top receivers in the game. And I do believe he is certainly a superior player to Tee Higgins. Not a knock on Tee, but Jamar certainly is up there at the top of the league with guys like Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. I think he is right there. You can consider him a top 2 or 3 receiver as well. So once again, hop down in the comments section and let us know what you think. Will Jamar Chase and the Cincinnati Bengals reach an extension this offseason? Type A for yes and type B for no. I think there's a lot of, conflicting thoughts here. Some people think that they'll be able to come to terms this offseason, and, a lot of other people out there think that it might not happen till this time, maybe like August of next year. So let us know what you think. Will Chase and Cincinnati reach an extension? Now I want to take a look here at some of the highest paid wide receivers. And first, we'll start with average per year. And as you can tell here, this is the kind of territory we're talking about for Jamar Chase and probably Tee Higgins as well. Wide receivers by no means are cheap these days. Taking a look at what some of these guys make. Justin Jefferson obviously just broke the market there at $35 million on average per year. You got a guy like A.J. Brown, $32 million. And I could argue that, Tee Higgins is up there in the top. Like, if you just take a look at this and you say Tee Higgins or A.J. Brown, am I crazy for thinking Tee Higgins might be a better receiver than A.J. Brown? I don't know. I certainly think Jamar Chase is. So this kind of helps you understand that, look, the Bengals aren't going to be able to afford paying both of these guys, right? And when you look at some of the guaranteed money for these guys as well, Justin Jefferson, obviously, $110 million. I think that Jamar is certainly going to want something that starts with a 1, meaning he's going to want at least $100 million in guaranteed money. As far as what the, how many years the extension is, I would say 3, but I think the Bengals would want more than that. I think Jamar would probably want more than that, so I really don't know at this point, but I am very certain that he certainly will go for at least $100 million when it is his time to come to an extension. So once again, make sure you subscribe to our channel here at Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports. Don't want to miss any of our coverage all off season long. We've got you covered right here at Bengals Breakdown.